So we got an exciting gift in the post from Wizards of the Coast. Let's find out what it is. Hello and welcome to Life Begins at 20. My name's Mark and thank you so much for joining me. Now, it's coming up to Dominaria Prerelease weekend, and Wizards of the Coast have been kind enough to send us over one of the Dominaria Prerelease kits so we can open it up, take you through what is inside, what you're going to be expecting at your pre-release, and also give you some little tips and advice on how to build a deck, and we'll also build a deck from this sealed pool as well. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in. So inside the Dominaria pre-release kit, you will end up finding one D20 die with the Dominaria symbol on it, 6 booster packs of Dominaria itself, a quick handy guide to explain how to build a pre-release deck for those of you that are new, going through basically the mana curve, how many creatures and other spells you should have, and land combinations as well. We'll go over this a little bit more later on in the video as well for a little bit of a guide there. We've also got a handy little card divider, and last of all, we've also got 2 cards this time now as a special pre-release promo. So because of Dominaria having lots of legendary creatures as well, we're going to be getting 2. So to start off with, you're going to get your rare or mythic from the set, which is going to be foiled and date stamped as well. And then on the other side, you're going to have your legendary creature. Now there's legendary creatures throughout the set from common all the way up to mythic as well. So you could get any one of those, which is also going to be foil and date stamped. So there we have everything that is going to be in your Dominaria pre-release kit this weekend. Now, the first thing I'm going to be saying is just have fun. It's a great place to be for newcomers and experienced players to just have a bit of a laugh, go and see what all the different cards are going to be doing, and just have an enjoyable experience. You can be as competitive or uncompetitive as you want to, and I'm sure your game stores will be catering for that over the course of the weekend as well. The second thing is, definitely, if you are new to the game and new to the format and all this other kind of stuff, ask for help. Ask your fellow players if they'll be able to help you with deck building ideas and other bits and pieces like that, because more than likely they're going to be willing to help you out. Everybody is going to be new to this set. There's going to be lots of new cards that no one's actually played with before, don't know how they interact properly with as well. So definitely have a look at, read through the cards, and if you do get stuck, definitely ask for help. It's what I did on my first pre-release, and to be fair, they really did help me create a pretty decent deck as well. So definitely do ask for help if you are stuck and just have a great time. It'll be really, really great. Now it's time to open up those juicy booster packs and see what we get inside. So let's crack on into the packs and see what we're going to be getting up. So you could probably tell quickly by looking through there, we've probably got ourselves some quite decent cards to start off with already, with our pre-release promo and also our legendary cards. So starting off with the promo, that looks absolutely stunning as well. We've got ourselves Gilded Lotus, 5 mana, giving yourselves 3 mana of any one colour. Lovely, lovely bit of ramp there. Absolutely looks stunning in foil. Absolutely stunning. Very happy to see that one. And then for our other one, which is our legendary creature, now everybody's going to be getting a different one, whether it's going to be uncommon, rare or mythic, potentially even a common as well. There's actually a common legendary in there. We've got Kazarov Sengir Pureblood, 5 and 2 black for a 4/4 flyer. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then you can pay 3 and a red to deal 2 damage to target creature. So it's a little bit expensive. It's got evasion. It's going to be a nice little bomb for us. I'm very glad to see we managed to get ourselves a rare as well. So 2 rares straight off is really going to help put the our seal pool together pretty nicely. So let's crack on into the packs and see what we're going to be getting up. Now, there is a legendary creature, as far as I'm aware, in every single pack as well, so you're definitely going to be seeing them. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through quickly. I'll mention any of the notable commons as well, but we'll quickly skip through most of these just to get through this part, and when we go through to the deck building, you'll see what's going on there. So starting off, we've got ourselves one of the Saga cards, so Flame of Keld. I do like the Saga cards. They're a little bit different, and I do like the vertical artwork as well. It looks really, really nice. So this one's pretty cool to start off with. One, we're going to be discarding our hand to start with, and then the next turn, we're going to be drawing 2 cards, and then for the final turn of this, what we're going to be doing is if a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or a player this turn, it deals that much damage +2 to that permanent instead. So that's pretty cool, just to, it takes you 3 turns to really push in for some extra damage there. Next up, we've got On Sarah's Wings. So we've got a legendary enchantment here. We've got, for 3 and a white, enchanted creature is legendary. It gets +1/+1, has flying, vigilance, and lifelink, and that's pretty cool. That is definitely pretty cool to, give it evasion and swing in with lots of extra damage there. And I bet this looks absolutely stunning in foil. Next up, we've got Tatiova Benthic Druid. So for 3 green and a blue, it's a 3/3 Merfolk Druid. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and you draw a card. So this set is definitely, for me, catered a hell of a lot more towards the new format, which is Brawl. But it's going to be interesting to see how it ends up working in Limited and Standard. So for our rare, we've got another Saga here with Fall of the Thran. So for 5 and a white, destroy all lands. That's going to be pretty brutal to go into Commander, for example. And then for your second and third aspects of this, when you get to those turns, each player returns 2 lands cards from their graveyard to the battlefield. That's pretty cool as well. It just wipes away the board, stops your opponents from doing anything, and you're able to get yourself some lands back. We've got ourselves, we've got a nice foil to start off with as well, with Goblin Barrage. So for 3 and a red, it's got a kicker as well, so you can sacrifice an artifact or a goblin, and Goblin Barrage deals 4 damage to target creature, and if it was kicked, it also deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. So that's actually a nice little piece of removal there, and to be fair, if you're going to get rid of like a 1/1 goblin, for example, you're not going to mind that, and a really nice looking soldier token there as well. So we'll get through into further on into the packs, but no, I mean, this is a really interesting set. I mean, I didn't ever play Dominaria, the original Dominaria, so it'd be very interesting to see what people actually think about the set itself for the players that have actually, played that originally. So now into the uncommons here. Sage of Latnam. So for 1 and a blue, it's a 1/2. You can tap it to sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. There are plenty of artifacts within the actual set as well, so that potentially may well be getting you some extra card draw there. Next, we've got Thorn Elemental. So for 5 and 2 green, it's a 7/7, and you may have Thorn Elemental assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And next, we've got Urgoros, the Empty One. So some very expensive cards going on here for the legendary creatures. 4 and a black is a 4/3 flyer, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card at random. If the player can't, you get to draw a card. So that'd be really nice as a creature later on in the game, especially in Limited, to get yourself some extra little bit of card draw. And we've got ourselves Steel Leaf Champion as our rare for the pack. So it's for 3 green. You get yourself a 5/4, which is pretty decent stats for 3 green there. And it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. I mean, that is going to do some serious work there. And a swamp and a sapling tokens, and there's definitely going to be use for those sapling tokens within this set. But definitely let me know in the comment section below which cards you're really excited about opening. I mean, is there, you're just trying to get hold of, say, Khan, for example? Are you trying to get to Fairy? Is there any specific things that you're really looking forward to opening up in the packs? Again, let me know in the comment section below, because I'll be very, very interested to find out. Another Saga again now. We've got Time of Ice. Again, I really, really do like the artwork. I mean, that's compared to that to, say, the split cards we had in the Amonkhet Hour of Devastation block. This looks so much better. So Time of Ice, 3 and a blue. First 2 stages, so your first turn and second turn is tap a target creature an opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Time of Ice, which is pretty cool. And then number 3 is return all tap creatures to their owner's hands. That again is pretty cool. You can just tap down some creatures that your opponents have as long as you control this enchantment, and then you end up returning them to their hands. So that's pretty nice there. Next up, we've got Zalfirin Void. So it's a land. When it enters the battlefield, you get scry 1 and add a colourless. Seems pretty decent. Next up, we've got Garner the Blood Flame, and this card looks really, really cool. I do actually really like this one as a legendary creature. So for 3, a black and a red, it's a 3/3 with flash. And when it enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put in there from anywhere this turn. Other creatures you control have haste as well, which is actually really cool. It means if you can end up having, say, your board wiped, for example, you can then play this end of turn or any point in time, flash it in, get a load of creatures back, and you're really then in the driving seat. And then last of all, we've got a legendary sorcery here in Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. So for 4 and a black, again, being a legendary sorcery, you can only cast this if you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. So there is a little bit of a difficulty in potentially to actually put this out, but if you do manage to cast it, put up to one target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, destroy up to one target creature or planeswalker, and then exile it. If you can cast that, and there is a big creature, a bomb in any of the graveyards, or a planeswalker in any of the graveyards, you're going to be doing some serious work here. You're going to take away their bomb, you're going to get a bomb yourself. Great. And we've got a Plains and a Cleric going. That Cleric looks pretty cool as well. So 3 packs down. Again, not really sure where we're going to be going with this colours I'm going to be going for at this moment in time. I mean, black's looking pretty strong at this moment, but we'll have to wait and see. So next up we've got Wizard's Retort. So for 1 and 2 blue, this spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a wizard. So if you if you're playing the Wizard's Tribal, this is just a plain up counter spell, which is really nice. Next up we've got another one of the Thorn Elementals. And we've now got a legendary creature here with Grun the Lonely King. I mean, that's a pretty cool guy. He is a pretty cool guy. So for 4 and 2 green, it's a 5/5 with a kicker cost of 3. If you manage to pay the kicker cost as well, it enters with 5+1/+1 counters on it as well, which is really nice. It means it's going to be a 10/10 for 9 mana. It's decent enough. And whenever he attacks alone, double its power and toughness until the end of turn. That is pretty strong. If you're able to potentially give it an enchantment, give it trample, or something along those lines, you know, flying lifelink, one of the ones we had earlier, that would be absolutely brutal. And we've got ourselves a mythic in Daragaz Reincarnated. I probably butchered that name, but needless to say, this is pretty cool. For a black, a red, and a green, we've got ourselves a 7/7 flying trample haste creature. That's just beautiful right there. If it would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Daragaz is exiled with an egg counter on it, remove an egg counter from it, and then when it has no egg counters, return it to the battlefield. This is really strong. If you're able to play this out, you're going to be able to have a card that, unless it gets exiled, is just going to keep coming back and back and back, and that's going to be absolutely fantastic for us. Really strong there. And I've got a forest and a goblin token there. 2 packs to go. We've got a mythic, which is pretty nice. We've got some interesting legendary creatures, but let's see what else we can get ourselves here. So there is a strong card to start off with there, with Dampening Spear. This is going to be a pretty strong card in a lot of formats coming as well, so very excited to get this one. So for 2, it's an artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces a colourless instead of any other type of amount, and each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has this turn. Really nice and controlling card there. It's definitely going to be doing some work in a few formats. Next up, we've got Dauntless Bodyguard. Very excited about this card. I'm just going to zoom in quickly. Apologies for that. That's better. Really excited about this card. We've got another 2/1 for 1 in white. It's another Savannah Lions equivalent, but this has got ourselves an upside here. So as it enters the battlefield, you choose another creature you control, and then you can sacrifice this, and that chosen creature that you've controlled gains indestructible to the end of turn. So realistically, you don't necessarily want it to be coming out turn 1, but it's still a decent beater nonetheless. And the best part is, if it comes out later, you can protect your bomb with this card. So very good card. I do like that, and that'll probably be getting its way into a fair few cubes, no doubt. Next up, we've got Halar the Fire Fletcher, another legendary creature we've got now. So for 1, a red and a green, you've got yourself a 3/3 with Trample. Again, very good stats for that. Whenever you cast a spell, if it was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then it deals damage equal to the number of +1/+1 counter to each opponent. That's really cool, especially if you're going to be playing a lot of kicker spells, and there are a fair few within the set. And we've got ourselves a rare land, and they are always useful. So enter the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain or plains, and you can add either one of those. Looks really nice as well. And we've got a mountain and another Sapling token. So again, still not quite sure where I'll end up going with this pre-release kit at this moment in time, and what kind of deck I will want to build, but there's definitely some interesting things, and they probably will help when we get to actually looking through all of the commons as well. So starting off, we've got Settle the Score. So for 2 and 2 black, it's a sorcery. Exile target creature, and then put 2 loyalty counters on a planeswalker you control. This is pretty cool. You get rid of one of their biggest threats, and if you have a planeswalker, you can pump that up to actually get closer to an ultimate or another spell we got. So I really do like that. Next up, we've got Orcish Vandal. 1 and a red, it's a 1/1, and you can tap and sacrifice an artifact and it deals 2 damage to any target. So if you've got plenty of artifacts, this is going to be able to do some significant work for you. Downside is a 1/1. Next up, we've got another one of the Saga cards, and that just looks really nice, doesn't it? Really do like the vertical artwork on this. 1 and a green, so for your first turn and your second turn, until your next turn, creatures you control gain tap for any 1 mana of any colour. Really nice. Third one is put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible to the end of turn. So your opponent's going to want to get rid of this before the third turn to make sure that you're not going to be swinging in for some significant damage. But I really do like that. And we've got Squee. Yeah, Squee. He's pretty cool. I do like Squee. Legendary creature, Goblin, 1 and 2 red for a 2/1. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. So he's just a guy that's just going to keep coming back and back and back and back and back. Little annoyance. He's just going to be great for a limited game because you're just going to be able to keep casting him. And that is really nice to have. And then we've got a Swamp and a Sapling token. So when creating a sealed deck, the first thing I like to do is organise all of my cards into their respective colours. This lets me see what ratio of cards I have to each colour. This will then give me an indication of what colours I have more depth in by the numbers that are there. I then implement a tried and tested method to figure out which cards are worth playing by using the bread method. For those of you that don't know what this is, it means bombs, removal, evasion, abilities and dirt. So your bombs are the cards that when they enter the battlefield, they'll end up changing the game considerably or end up winning you the game. These could be massive great creatures or really powerful spells. The next thing is removal, and this is generally speaking like counter spells, getting things off the board, or just actual kill spells for those creatures. These are things that I tend to prioritise a lot more than bombs, but we'll go into that in a moment. Evasion are creatures where your opponent aren't able to block them very easily. We're talking about menace, trample, and also flying. Abilities are things that on creatures that do a little bit more than just being a vanilla creature. If the creature has nothing on it, say for example it's a 2/2 for 2, that doesn't have any abilities, but when it's abilities such as when it enters the battlefield it does X, then yes, that would be an ability style creature. The last thing is dirt, and this is the thing you want to get out of your sight as quickly as possible. These are the cards that are just so bad that you just won't play, and you know you won't play them, so if you get them out of your sight as quickly as possible, then you can concentrate on the rest of your cards. The next thing I tend to do once I've got rid of all of the dirt is prioritising where my removal is. I tend to prioritise removal over my bombs purely because by taking out my opponent's threats, I'm sure I'll have a better chance of winning the game myself. Once I found the colour with the best removal, I then look at the rest of the cards to see what they've got. Is there enough evasive creatures? Are there any bombs in there? Are there enough spells to win as well? And where is that colour lacking? By placing these cards out in a mana curve, you'll begin to see where the weaknesses of that pool are. Are you lacking 2-drops or have no flyers or ways to deal with them? Once you've found out what your weaknesses are of that colour, I then tend to look through all the other colours to see if they end up making up for this. So when building your sealed deck, a rough mana curve you'll want to follow for the sealed deck is 0 to 3 1-drops, 4 to 5 2-drops, 7 3-drops, 6 4-drops, and 4 5+ drops. These numbers aren't set in stone by any means, but they do help you give an understanding of what is required. You definitely want to make sure that you have cards to be able to play each turn, and by making sure that there are cards in each of those drop values, you'll be able to do so. The main thing to remember is that your sealed deck needs to be 40 cards in total, and you'll be looking for about 22 to 23 spells. These can be compromising of creatures and non-creature spells, and a good ratio of this would be 15 to 18 creatures and 5 to 8 non-creature spells, leaving you with 17 to 18 lands. Definitely do not go over 40 cards, because then you'll end up diluting your deck and stopping you from actually getting the really good cards that you actually want to get as often as you need them. So this is the pre-release deck that I've come up with, and there are some massive great bombs that I just kind of really had to play. I mean, I had to splash for this guy. I mean, a 7/7 flyer with trample and haste and it's just going to be able to keep coming back and back and back. It was just so strong. I had to play for it. The other one I needed to get in here was the Karazov Sengia Pureblood. Very, very happy to see this as my promo card. Again, it's a flyer that will just keep getting bigger and bigger, and I like the fact that it's evasive. Plus, for 3 and a red, splashing for red here to be able to play this, and Daragaz there, we'll just be able to, you know, splash in, get ourselves an extra little bit of damage, and that means he's going to be pumped up as well. What I also quite liked, I mean, I'm mainly going black-green here. I mean, green's predominantly the main colour for 2 reasons. Mainly because it was probably the stronger out of the lot, and it had the creatures I needed where black was kind of lacking. But Thorn Elemental was something I actually quite really liked. So there's a 7/7 there for 7, but you may have it assign combat damage as though it weren't blocked, so it can still swing in and do some decent damage there. I had to put Grun in. I just had to. He's really cool. I mean, we've got Halar there, if I'll just get him up there. This was in Trample 3/3, and it's there for kicker spells, and there is actually about 7, I believe, kicker spells we've got going on within the deck at this moment in time. And with the actual seal pool, we've got plenty of ways in sideboarding in as well to be able to get more creatures back, to be able to have more removal, to get some more hand disruption as well. So that was really nice. But Grun's just a beast, absolute beast. He's like, oh, you know, he's going to be swinging in on his own as a 10/10. If you actually kick it, it means he's going to be swinging in as a 20/20. If you're able to then get with the Song of Prerelease, which I'm very, very happy we're going to be getting in here as well. If you manage to get to bit 3 law counters and have Grun swinging by himself, that's like 22 damage with Trample. That is going to do some significant work there. So very, very happy to see that. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, we've got, like we said, cards here we splash with 3 colours, and the only reason I'm actually splashing for 3 colours was because of the fact that we've got 2 copies of Llanowar Envoy, so that means we can use the predominant green mana that we've got to actually splash to get a different colour that we need, which is really nice. We've also, with the Song of Prerelease as well, being able to actually use the creatures that we've got to be able to tap for, you know, with its first 2 stages there, tap for 1 mana of any colour, which is again really, really nice to have. So creating Saprolings as well is a way that we can get a lot of creatures to be able to do that. And last of all, Gilded Lotus. I had to put this in here. It looks so good, but like we said, we've got plenty of different things that we're able to do, and if we didn't have enough ways to kill off things, and we've got plenty moving where with Eviscerate, Settle the Score, Vicious Offering as well with the kick cost, and we've also got Fungal Infection to kill off something small and give ourselves a little sapling creature. We were using Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. This is just really, really nice. We've got a fair few legendary creatures here as well, and it just means that we're able to then put 1 target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard onto the battlefield in our control, so really this is going to really swing the tide in our favour. So there we have the deck that I would have built from that pre-release kit, and I'm actually fairly okay with it. There wasn't too much going on at the lower ends, but I think I have enough ramp there, especially with Song of Prerelease and creating those Saproling tokens to really push through, ramp up into our big bombs and see what happens there. But do let me know in the comment section below as well which cards you're looking forward to opening up, which ones you're looking forward to playing with, whether you're excited about Brawl as well, because that's definitely a format I'm a little bit on the edge of, you know, kind of don't know whether I'm happy about it or not. I definitely saw, you know, when I initially saw this set and I was like, well, they're bringing out Brawl, so we've got all these legendary creatures and that's the only reason why they're in there. So Brewing's going to be very interesting to see how it ends up working out over the course of the set, but I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to play. Let me know as well if you are from the original, you know, you played the original Dominaria set and how this set matches up for you. Are you excited about all the different cards there and which ones in particular? I'd definitely be interested to know. And for those of you actually going to your pre-releases this weekend, best of luck to all of you, and I would love to know how you all get on. I would just like to take this moment to thank my Patreons of the channel. I can't thank you enough for the help and support that you're giving me. If you'd like to do the same, head over to patreon.com/lifebegins@20, and there'll be a link in the description below for that as well, where there are plenty of rewards to choose from. With your support, we can really push to make this channel even better. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. With your support, we can really help this channel to grow. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.